Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to WinCon Employee Central Payroll Training. Today we are going to discuss again. So, most of the topics again would be similar what we've seen in the demo, but because we are starting from the beginning, I'm trying to cover it up. So, whoever is not joined the demo, maybe they can also understand the basics, initial basics, what from where we have to start with. Okay, so this is my profile. So my name is Venkat, and I have 10 years of SAP experience covering SAP HCM, Employee Central Payroll, Employee Central, and Workforce Time Attendance. I have 4 years of experience, 4+ years of experience in Employee Central Payroll, and 6 years in SAP HCM. If you see, I'm certified in SAP HCM and Employee Central Payroll and Workforce Time Attendance module. Okay. So this is my profile, the experience I carry right now on SAP side. Okay. So this is today will be the first topic, which is the introduction of introduction to the point-to-point integrations. So where we are going to see these particular topics or discuss about these topics, which is why we use point-to-point integration, what is point-to-point integration, where to use point-to-point integration, success factors overview, and employee central payroll overview, data flows. So most of these topics we have already discussed in the in the demo session. However, as I said, so if anybody has not attended the demo session, they can still have this background of it, or if anybody joining to see the demo kind of in the first training session, they also can understand this. Okay. So why do we use a point-to-point integration? So basically, before point-to-point integration comes or released or SAP announced the point-to-point integration, there was only one way of doing integration between employee central system and payroll systems, which is through middleware called Boomi or HCI integrations. However, it has its own complexes, or when I say complexes, it has its own uh, difficulties while doing the mapping. It's not as easy or as simple as what point-to-point integration has it, because you need to do the field mapping each specific element level, and also need to do the error handling and extensibilities, and also you have to do the mapping of your org structure. Okay, but when it comes to employee central payroll, so this particular Boomi is used only when you have ERP systems. When I say ERP, it's not an employee central payroll systems, these are on-premise systems. Okay, so when it comes to employee central payroll, and SAP has introduced a new kind of application called point-to-point integration. So wherein in the point-to-point integration, you don't have to use this particular middleware here. You can directly replicate the data from Employee Central to Employee Central Payroll like this through your SF APIs and OData replications. So how does this SF API and OData replication works is, this is just a brief. We don't have to get into in detail of what is SF API and OData, because these are something related to the networking and basis related one. We don't have to get into those details. I'll just give you a brief of what is SF API and OData API in the next slide. However, as I was mentioning, so point-to-point integration made the data replication more simpler than what we have before through middleware systems. How it is made more simpler is, let's say for example, in when you wanted to replicate the personal information, like employee name, employee last name, or the first name, middle name, these things, you have to map those things in the middleware systems. I specifically, like, this is the first name from EC, this is the first name from the on-premise system, but these are the fields which you don't have to map in the ECP when it comes to point-to-point replication. So there are few standard, or there are few fields which system by default are mapped in a way that you can replicate by default. You don't have to touch anything of those, like a name, or let's say for example, like your uh, marital status. Sometimes you do, until unless you have to change it to different way of doing it. You can it goes by standard, so you don't have to again do it manually mapping for it. Okay, so these things are by default SAP provides a replication. So only other things what you need to replicate into the when it comes to point replication is like say other same example of marital status. If you want to change from a different code to different code, like say extensibility mapping. So when it comes male to, if you want to map male from EC to different maritals, I mean sorry, married of EC status to different status in payroll system, then you go with a different kind of mapping. Or if you want to map personal information, I mean personal identification numbers, which is your infotype 185, or if you want to map your pay components. So these things you map it, but it's not all the field mapping that you're going to do it. You're going to map only the relevant information what we need in the payroll system and which is necessary for the payroll system to run the payroll. Okay, so what are all those necessary fields, what are all those necessary info types, that we are going to talk in next future slides, or we are also going to talk those field mapping when it comes to master data replication. So we don't have to uh, get this stressed at this point of time in this particular slide. Okay, now, so when I say what is point-to-point integration, so as I said, so in point-to-point integration, the replication works in two different ways. One is through SF APIs and another one is OData APIs. So what is SF API? SF API means it pushes the data from Employee Central to payroll system, or you can call it as SAP pulls the data from SAP Success Factors Employee Central. But OData is push the data from payroll system to EC systems or SF systems. Why we have two different APIs here? SF API is always used to pull the data from Employee Central. Which what kind of data, if you ask? So it is like master data or payroll master data, because when payroll has to run the payroll for all the employees, it has to have the updated information. So this particular updated data will come from Employee Central. So how will it come? It comes through SF APIs. Okay. Now, after processing the payroll, you will be pushing the data to OData, to Employee Central, like payroll results, if you want to push it. So this particular information will be pushed through OData APIs. Okay, so there is nothing configuration that you will be going to do. It's just for understanding how SF API works and how the OData API works as a theoretical way. But when it comes to configuration, again, you don't have to do any specific configurations for it. You just need to enable a switches or activate few switches in the Employee Central and in the provisioning side, and also in the payroll systems. So you don't have to do any kind of technical configurations as such. Clear?
I have one question here.
Yes.
So now, so all the wage component which we configured in Employee Central, this
Mhm.
should be replicated through point-to-point integration in ECP, right? Employee
Correct.
Central Payroll.
Correct.
And from the now the payroll driver is the old one, the HCM payroll driver behind this all configuration. So
Mhm.
this wage component should be go to the HR info types as well or no?
Yes, it goes to HR info type. So while you're replicating the data, you're going to tell the system it's not
Hmm.
only about the which wage code to replicate, you're also going to tell the system to which info type it has to go and hit.
So it's mean that there are the all these wage component or wage types or pay component will be available in three systems, right?
In
In
not three
EC.
systems, two
Hmm.
systems. One is EC and another one
Okay.
is Employee Central Payroll System. What you're going to
Okay.
do, you're just going to map what is my EC code, what is my ECP code. Let's say, for example, in EC,
Okay.
we don't have a fee or we don't have a flexibility to configure the wage codes based on the country grouping, right? If you
Okay.
configure, let's say, wage component called 1000, which is basic salary, and that cannot be used again for a different country grouping. But wherein in our systems, in payroll systems, you can have same thousand series of wage, thousand basic salary wage code can be used for UAE and also can be used for Saudi Arabia or can be used for USA also. How? It differentiates based on the country grouping. When we go to the table, it asks for country grouping, right? But we don't have that option in Employee Central. So you need to tell the system which code in Employee Central goes to which code in the Employee Central payroll.
This should be done in EC, right? This
Yes,
configuration, yani.
yes. So this mapping will be done in the point-to-point integration configurations, but that configuration where we will do in the Employee Central payroll systems only, which is your basically your payroll systems.
Hmm.
So nothing will be done in Employee Central. Employee Central configurations will be very minimal. What you do, the mapping configurations, everything will be on your payroll system only. How you map it, where the switches needs to be activated, how you do the configurations for the mapping, everything will be in your point to point. How your payroll control center is configured, everything will be in your payroll system only. So you will not be configuring anything in EC. EC is only for giving permissions and few things related to mashup that you're going to enable, and also whether which system is your payroll is what you're going to do it in the Employee Central, but nothing on the mapping or payroll control center configurations. Nothing will be configured in the Employee Central. All those will be configured in your payroll only, in this particular payroll system.
For the payroll, for payroll will be configured in ECP, right? What I
Yes.
understand that ECP is the front end UI for the
Mhm.
payroll system, for HR payroll system. This
Don't
understanding is correct?
see, it's not the same understanding. See, the way your understanding is little bit different from what SAP says.
Hmm.
ECP is nothing but your first what you need to think of is ECP is nothing but your single system, okay, one system of your payroll, which is your ideally again is an ERP system only. Only thing is it will be in the cloud, which will be
Okay,
maintained by SAP alone, not by any other
okay,
people. Okay, that is ECP. In Employee Central,
okay,
you have an UI to run the payroll for ECP, which means your payroll control center, we call it as.
okay, correct.
Through payroll
So,
control
okay,
center, you run a payroll, and that will be that payroll control center, wherever that you are running the payroll in Employee Central, will be linked to your EC payroll system to the specific payroll driver for that country.
okay, correct. Okay, so now you give the example for waste type 1000. So
Mhm.
I will create what I understand. Yani I would what from your discussion, what I understand that
Mhm.
the waste component, first pay component I have to create in employee central, okay, to
Mhm.
maintain the basic salary for the employee, okay.
Mhm.
Then it is replicated through point to point integration in ECP, okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Then it will in the back end it will go to the HR info type in info type 8 for
While
ECC
you're
system.
mapping, correct. While you're mapping itself, you're considering it as three different systems, but don't consider as three. Only two
Okay,
steps. Two
two
things
steps
is
are there.
first
Okay,
you need to configure your wage components in Employee Central. You'd also
okay,
configure wage components in payroll. In both the systems,
okay,
configuration is mandatory. Okay.
okay,
Employee Central person will do EC configuration, payroll person will do payroll configuration, wage types.
correct.
Okay. What point-to-point integration will configuration will do is in the configuration, what you do, you're going to tell the system this is my EC code. Let's say 1000 is my EC code and my payroll
Hmm.
code is 1005.
Okay,
Okay, that is one mapping you do. So system
okay,
understands whenever 1000 comes from Employee Central, I have to map it to 1005 in the payroll. First condition is
correct,
that. Okay.
correct.
Now second condition, what you will tell whether this particular wage component is a recurring or not recurring. That is
Okay,
second condition. Third
correct,
condition, what you do, whether this particular wage code has to go to which info type, whether it goes to 8 info type or whether it has to go to 14 or whether it has to go to
hmm,
15.
correct. Okay.
That's it. These
Clear,
three different
clear,
integration configuration is what you're going to do in this particular.
clear.
Okay.
Okay, clear. So
Ideally,
this
only two
this we
systems.
will.
You can consider only two systems:
Okay,
Employee Central Payroll. Employee Central
okay,
Payroll system is the one where you configure for point-to-point integration and also your payroll configurations.
okay, correct.
It's not two different systems. Employee Central Payroll is only one system.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. So we are going
Venkat,
to
I
see
have a
this.
question.
Okay, sorry. Continue, guys.
Okay. Venkat, you said like there are two types of APIs, SF API and OData API. So
Hmm.
SF API, I have I mean, what I understand is like data comes from EC to update the info types and whatever is required for the payroll and all those. So
Right.
just want to know like how the other one, I mean, works from ECP to EC, like in the
So
sense
OData,
because
so this is again, as I said, if you want to push the payroll results to EC system, then it
okay,
goes through OData APIs. So let's say, for example, now employees customer is implementing open text module and they wanted to read some processed information which is in the payroll, but it is not in Employee Central. Okay. So
okay,
when you want to push that information to payroll, like payroll results data, then you don't have to basically use it. There is a program to push for the payroll results. That program runs based on OData API.
okay. So do we have any portlet or kind of a screens where it shows that the payroll is been this to this in EC side or like how is it?
So when you push the data, it goes to a specific object in EC called employee payroll run results.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So
So
that needs
that
to be
object
configured
will
by
have.
EC person.
You don't have to configure that one. That will be configured by default. The object will be there by standard itself. You just need to enable the permissions. That will be done by our end, which is from the integration consultant, point-to-point integration consultant. Will be enable those. And when you run a program, there is a specific program to push the employee central payroll results. When you run that program, automatically results will go and sit in that particular object.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We will see that in next, I mean, in the topics where we call it as employee results replication. So that will be covered anyway. So first we'll go one by one so that you'll have more clarity on what we are doing or how we are doing it.
Venk-
Yeah.
Venkat, I'm sorry, sorry to interrupt. This side Abhijit. Just a
Yeah.
small query. You talk about something called the provisional, that the enable and
Provision.
some kind of provisioning access. So,
Yeah.
are you going to show that also in this training? That how to enable that?
Provisioning, I cannot log in and show it to you because even I don't have an
Okay,
access. When I
certified.
wanted to enable something, I'll just inform my EC consultant. They'll log in and enable those. I will be showing you the screenshots of it, which
That
all
will be fine.
provision needs
That
to be
that
activated.
will be absolutely fine. But it is there, right, in the training.
Yes, yes,
You can show
yes.
the
That
things.
will be
All
there
right.
in the next second topic, so that shouldn't be any not be any problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
No issue. Thank you.
Okay. Now, moving to the next one, where do we use this point-to-point integration? So, to simplify this, until unless you have an employee central payroll license, you cannot use a point-to-point integration. If you don't have a license for employee central payroll, that means you cannot use point-to-point integration. It will not work basically. Okay. If your payroll system is S4 HANA or if it is an on-premise, then the only way for you the mapping is through CPI or BIB. Sorry. Okay. If not point to point, then BIB. Point to point is used only if you have employee central payroll license. That's it. Not for S4 HANA or not for on-premise, regular on-premise systems. Okay. Now, so this is just an overview of success factors. I believe everybody knows it. And I think it's these are all the mandatory, I mean, submodules. What success factors has the cloud-based HCM, which is recruitment, HR transactions will be performed in Employee Central. Changes and transfer will be again performed in EC, position management, time off, payroll timesheets, reporting, complaints and auditing, integration and extensibility, learning and development. So in all these elements, which are all the elements, or features will be replicated. You can replicate HR transactions, which is info type 0 and 1. Changes and transfer again, 0 and 1 will be replicated. Position management, position data can be replicated, but however, the relationships for any positions or jobs, or for that matter, relationship for any org units will not be replicated. That is not relevant for the payroll system, for the payroll to run a payroll, to process the payroll for any employee. So SAP recommends, or SAP says by default, no need of replicating any relationships in the payroll system. So you don't have to worry about how the org structure is, relationship is mapped in the backend system. You can ignore by default. You just need to map whether you need a department field in your org unit field, or if you want division as an org unit field, or if you want business unit as an org unit field. Either only one can be mapped. However, the relationship for that will not be mapped in the system. Even that we will be mapping only because to display that specific division or department or business unit in any of the reports. It's an option for payroll consultant or a business to choose to map it or not. Again, the same way for job and position also. There will be position codes and jobs codes will be mapped, and text also will be replicated, but not the relationships for both. Okay. And time off can be mapped. Yes. Somebody was asking.
Bankit, I have yes. I have a slight doubt here.
Yeah.
See, in relationships against the department, we are mapping with the cost centers, right?
Mhm.
And once we done the payroll processing, while the finance team is getting posted it in the books of accounts, cost center is
Mhm.
mandatory. So
Mhm.
now here you are saying that the relationship is not mandatory. It's a slight confusing for me that
Okay.
how the
Okay.
thing
Let me
will be
put it
differ.
this way. Maybe, yeah, I understand your question. So probably others also might have the same concern. So, okay, when you replicate, or when you see, the cost center ideally will come from, again, from Employee Central, right? It is not from payroll.
Okay,
How Employee Central gets the cost center is again from finance systems, from any third party or SAP Finance. Okay. Now,
okay,
when cost center is mapped to department or a position in Employee Central, the same cost center by default will be replicated to info type 1 also. So there is no relationship in payroll needs to be configured. The relationship is
okay,
already mapped in Employee Central.
okay, got it. Even in SAP 2,
Okay.
it is default reflected in 0001. Fine, got it.
Yes, yes. By default, when you replicate, it will automatically update your cost center in 001.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes,
And
thank you.
however, you need to have the cost center master in payroll system also. By default. If if there is a standard, I mean, if there is a, if business is using SAP Finance, then you don't have to do any LSNW or uploads. You can do an integration through iDocs from your finance SAP system to ECP system.
Okay, thank you so much,
remember
Venkat.
one thing remember one
Yeah,
thing that when you have, I mean, this is for all to understand. Okay, let me this one. Okay, this is the architecture. Okay, remember one thing that we will be you will be seeing when you're implementing ECP, you will be seeing either two systems or three systems maximum. Okay,
okay,
related to SAP. How the three systems, I'll explain you what is two systems. I'll explain you. When it is come to two systems, one is your success factors, which is Employee Central, and another one is your Employee Central payroll. Two systems. Okay. When it comes to three systems, your success factors, Employee Central, EC payroll, and your SAP Finance. When you say SAP Finance, that will be your S4 HANA. Either it could be in cloud or either it could be on on-premise. Okay. When customer buys Employee Central payroll system, and if they also wanted to buy SAP Finance, then SAP will give two systems. They will not give they will not ask you to use S4 HANA itself as an ECP. No, they don't say that. Your ECP always will be an individual system as of now. There is no combined of S4 HANA for that. Clear?
Clear, clear. Thank you so much. Clear. It's clear.
Yeah. Okay. So now when it comes to Employee Central Payroll overview, again, as I mentioned, so Employee Central Payroll is again a cloud payroll system hosted in the with SAP data centers, cloud data centers, and it is again an on-premise system only. However, it is only maintained by SAP in the data centers. It is not maintained by an individual third party or individual business itself as an on-premise systems. That is the only difference between on-premise and Employee Central Payroll, other than the payroll control centers. Okay. Now, as I was mentioning, this would be your architecture when it comes to EC, ECP, and S4HANA, three different systems. Why we are seeing this is because to understand when you're designing your solution at the initial stage itself, how the data should be replicated from one system to other systems, because this is very important for you in the initial level, or else you will have problems after in the middle of the implementation. The reason why I'm saying is because, let's say, if you want to replicate the cost centers, you need to know what are all the systems that you're having currently, and whether we can with if you have SAP Finance, how the cost centers has to get replicated, and what all the integrations needs to be enabled. Accordingly, you can involve the specific consultants, whether it's a CPA consultant or it could be a basis consultant or a technical consultant who can do the integrations. Okay. Now, there are three different kind of integrations. Again, we can see here. One is employee mini master data. Okay, employee mini master data always goes from employee central system to S4 HANA system. If you have finance, okay, if you have finance S4 HANA, then it goes to mini master data. That integration will go based on CPI. Okay, let me put it this way to make it more clear. Just give me a minute. I will open an Excel. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
We can. We can.
Okay. So let's say this is your employee central, and this is employee central payroll. One second. Now the other one is this is S4 HANA finance. Let's call it HANA or MM or SP or PSP, whatever, any module can be. Okay. Now what happens here is, first mini master data will go from okay, one second guys, sorry. so this let me put it here. Some free lines are not coming. Okay, let me do this. But let's talk about this one. Okay. So this is one mapping wherein you are going to call this as employee mini master data. Okay. Always employee mini master. Whenever there is an S4 HANA system, always remember it has to go from employee central to employee central. Sorry, S4 HANA finance system. Now there is another integration which goes from this system to this system, which is cost center master. Okay, so from S4 HANA, all the time your cost center has to get replicated to employee central. Okay, reason why, because without cost centers in employee central, they will not be able to map whether the cost center has to go to is mapping with the relationship with a position or department or a job or whatever it is, and employee will be having blank cost center, and when it replicates to payroll there will be no cost center. So master of cost center master always has to go to employee central again. Okay, these two are relationship between employee central and S4 HANA if there is a S4 HANA system available. Okay, now when it comes to employee central payroll and S4 HANA, again here what you will be mapping here is your posting documents. Posting documents will be sent to S4 HANA. Okay, now when it comes to S4 HANA to ECP, what are all the details you need? You need cost center master, because when you replicate from EC to employee central payroll, you need to have cost center in employee central payroll also. So the cost center master has to come from S4 HANA again to employee central payroll. Cost center master should come. GL master should be there. And you also need to have, if you're implementing WBS, which is work breakdown structure, then WBS elements also needs to be there. Okay, these things are mandatory when it comes to S4 HANA to ECP. Now, the other integration is EC to ECP. It goes from employee master data. When you say master data, it involves your payroll, everything, time and everything. And when it comes this way, employee payroll results. Yeah. So this is how three different systems will be mapped. Okay, any questions here? Is it clear now how the replication or integration works when you have S4 HANA system? If there is no S4 HANA, then you will have only this one, wherein for the cost centers, EC team or business will upload the cost center master here, and once it has been uploaded here, and then you will take the same master and upload in employee central payroll also. You will do it through LSNW.
Venkat, can you just repeat from, if I get all, we have this HANA system. So it will be initially from EC to S4 and then HANA to ECP. Is it how the cost center is done?
Which, so from beginning you want to know, understand, or like which specific one you have doubt?
I mean, if we have S4 with EC, I mean,
Okay, S4 with EC, this one, right?
yeah.
So your first replication would be your cost centers, because in your S4
Okay.
HANA, the cost centers will be there because that's your finance system or MM or SD or whatever it is. So the cost center
Yeah.
will be defined by those module owners. So those cost centers will be replicated to Employee Central. This will go through a CPI integration. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
Cloud Platform Integration. And your employee mini master will be replicated from Employee Central System to S4 HANA, which is again through CPI only.
Okay.
Okay.
So you mean to say that employee mini master will have that cost centers update?
Correct. So to get this employee mini master, first you need to update the cost centers here. Okay.
Okay.
And then employee will be created here as in hiring, and then that specific mini master data, whichever is necessary for finance or MM or SD, that will be replicated as an employee in the S4 HANA along with the BP, say like a BP, business partner.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. This one is totally with iDocs or ALE. Okay. Posting documents will go through ALE or iDocs from Employee Central
Yeah.
Payroll after your payroll is processed
Mm-hmm.
to S4 HANA. Okay. And before posting documents, as an initial, you need to get your cost center, GL master, WBS to your Employee Central Payroll system. Because if you
Yeah.
don't have any of these things, you will not be able to send the posting documents correctly. Or if you don't have cost center, for example, and when you replicate from Employee Central to Employee Central Payroll, you'll have an error that cost center is missing.
Okay.
While replication itself, cost center will not be replicated also. Why? Because the master is not there.
Okay. So two-way it is iDocs from ECP to HANA and HANA to ECP.
Right.
The cost center. Okay.
Correct. If it is ECP, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now this one is P2P. There is nothing difference in it. Point to point. PPP. Okay. Employee Central to Employee Central Payroll. Clear?
Yeah, clear. Thank you.
Yes. Now, okay. So that is all about this particular architecture, what we are seeing here in this. Okay. Now, how the data flow works from Employee Central to Employee Central Payroll. Now, this particular slide also we have seen in the demo, but still, as I said, so we will cover it. As I said, all the payroll data or employee data will be replicated from Employee Central to Employee Central Payroll through point-to-point replication, whichever is necessary for the payroll to run. So that's why I said mini master data. It's not mandatory that each and every field has to get updated. What we are seeing here is whatever is necessary for the payroll to run, only those information we will be replicating. So let's say zero is important, 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9 are mandatories. 14 and 15 are again mandatory. 416 is again up to us whether we have to map it or not, compensation. 2001 and 6 again is not mandatory, it's up to us. And any statutory information info types, again it depends. I mean, statutory is again mandatory. So let's not talk about statutory here now. Let's talk about replication only, how it goes. So again, the mini master data, payroll master, and time structure will go to specific info types in this particular list here through point-to-point replication. So how we are going to do this point-to-point replication is we'll cover in the master data replication configurations and the topic there. So you don't have to worry. This is just the data flow that we are discussing. When it comes to statutory process or custom info types, you can go with the mashups, as I said, because there is no standard replication SAP provides. So you will have to go with the mashups, which means that you're going to do a configuration wherein the admin will go and maintain the data directly in Employee Central, but the screens what they are going to maintain is a payroll screens, which means that it's a direct info types maintenance from Employee Central. That is called mashups. Okay. And now the payroll execution, again the payroll execution will be processed in Employee Central, sorry, in Employee Central, which again we call it as called payroll control center. This particular payroll control center is tagged with your payroll driver. So when I say payroll driver, it depends on which country that you wanted to run payroll. That specific country payroll driver will be tagged. If you have multiple countries, then each process, there are multiple processes types that we will be creating in payroll control center. So each process types will be tagged to that specific payroll country grouping. So you don't have to worry that if you are implementing not for multi-country implementation and how does the payroll control center work. Each process type can be defined for each country payroll driver. So you don't have to worry about it. We will see that when it comes to payroll control center configurations. Okay. Now, the pay slips again will be configured in Employee Central Payroll and will be pushed through to the Employee Central through the pay slip feature. Okay, so there is an activation switch or pay slip feature which will be which needs to be activated so that the pay slip will be visible in Employee Central, whatever that we have activated in the Employee Central Payroll. But the main configurations are done in Employee Central and activations also will be done in Employee Central. It's just that view of payslip will be in Employee Central. That's it. Okay. And to view this payslip, the mandatory information is your results. How the results will be pushed from Employee Central Payroll to Employee Central again through the OData. This is where the OData APIs will be working. Okay, so there is a specific replication program again for the employee payroll results to push. So when you do the specific configurations for it and run that program, the results will be replicated. So we will see this particular topic again in a different session. So there is a separate topic for this. We will look at the configurations and how to do that there. Okay, now any questions here?
Regarding the mashups, okay. So for the PTP replication
Yeah,
and mashups, the difference, I understand that PTP is a config through you for some field mapping and all you do. So the mashups, you
correct,
said like it's directly maintained.
correct.
It's not.
That's it. That is the difference. So replication is a configuration. It goes through the SF API and data through the program replication program. Mashup is not anything to do with that. Mashup is you just going to maintain the info text directly. But the only difference of why they call it a mashup is because instead of logging into the payroll system and maintaining it, you're maintaining it from Employee Central itself directly. That's the only difference.
Okay.
Venkat, one query regarding this payroll driver. Are the same driver which we can able to see in SAP like IN01 and likewise, or
So
is
sorry,
that the
could you repeat
something?
that again?
Regarding the payroll drivers, you have mentioned here
Mhm.
about the payroll driver, which is country-wise it is varies, right? So for
Right.
India, we are using IN01 in SAP. So are the
Correct.
same driver we are using in ECP2,
Yes.
or is that something?
Yes, yes. Same drivers. There will be no change in drivers or anything.
Okay. Okay, and additional one more query because there we writing some kind of the schemas and PCR. So
Yeah.
is that the same thing in ECP2? We are going to
Yes.
see that right schemas and PCR.
Yes, that is also same. As I said, the system is same. When it comes to ECP, your payroll configurations and P2P configurations all done in this one system only. But the
Okay.
schemas and PCRs, what you're talking about, will be configured or you know written by payroll consultant, and we will not be covering that topic here. We will only cover how the replication works, how the payroll control center will be configured, and how to run the payroll from Employee Central to Employee Central.
So, but in our course content, the PCR schema is not the part, right? Is that
No, no, no. PCRs and schemas are not part. That is a payroll configurations. That is nothing to do with point-to-point replications.
okay? Okay, getting it. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions before we move to next topic?
Hi Venkat, can you explain me about this SAP GUI links?
Okay, so SAP Web GUI links, right? So this we will cover in the topic 2 and 3. So how the links SAP will be
Okay.
provided, and then you will have more idea there because I can show you there the how the SAP links looks like and what is the difference between links and GUI.
Okay.
Because if I talk about this now, then again we have to talk about anyway tomorrow or today
Mm-hmm.
when we talk
Okay.
about those the topic.
Okay.
So it will come. It will come. In our next topics, we have what are all the necessary things that we have. What is the difference between web GUI links and SAP regular desktop GUIs?
Okay.
So Venkat, it's a general question, like
Yeah.
because I was not part of the earlier session. So for the ECP side, I mean, like if you are getting into these sessions and all while learning, do we need to have EC uh, fundamentals or something like EC knowledge for this?
No, not necessary.
Okay,
Not necessary.
because I'm
As
not aware of EC,
I
so
No,
just wanted to
as I
clarify.
said, again, it's the same. It's the same with the EC consultant also. If he is learning, it's not mandatory that they need to know the payroll configurations. The basics would enough for the EC consultant to understand the payroll to do these configurations. But for the payroll consultant, need not to have the knowledge on EC also. I mean, the little bit basics will be there, but those basics we will be covering up here for EC side.
Okay, thank you. Because
So,
I was just thinking on that point.
yeah, yeah. So let's say, for example, when you wanted to configure something in EC for related to this, we will show where to go and what to configure it in the Employee Center.
Okay, okay,
So, but if it is related to the permissions and all, then you need to go and you can directly raise it with the Employee Central consultant, and they should be able to help you out
okay.
because EC
Uh,
keeps changing every quarter.
Okay.
They have their new
uh,
features, something or other. These keep changing. Yeah.
Venkat, sorry, huh? My doubt might be the silly one, but I'm getting the doubt. Is there
Mhm.
any two different kind of the openings in company like payroll consultant is different one and this point-to-point integration, or is it the alone one in the companies?
No, 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 no. There will not be any specific. Nobody actually. To be frank and specifically tell you,
Yep.
no business or no consultant company will ask for only point-to-point integration because
Yeah.
it's a cost for them just to spend
Right.
money on that particular person. But what they do internally, I'll tell you. When you
Yeah.
have a big project with 10 or 15 country implementations, they divide the groups into three. One is
Okay.
EC, one is payroll, and another one is point-to-point team, replication
Point-to-point.
or integration team. So that
Okay.
the people who are working on point-to-point replication configuration generally they train internal new hires or they train interns what they have and then they ask them to do this particular activity. But if anybody asks for integration consultant alone, I've not seen the job portals separately for them. But again, if there's somebody asks, maybe you can apply for it. But so far, I've not seen that only for replication or point-to-point consultant that they need.
Because at the time of interview, they might be asking the question regarding the this P2P as well as the payroll consulting point of view. Is
Yes.
that
So when at the point of interview, they might ask you in terms of if their job description refers to employee central payroll and it refers to specific country payroll configurations and also if it refers to replication from EC to ECP, yes, they will ask these questions. However, when you're attending a certification from SAP side,
okay?
they will
Okay.
not ask you anything related to the payroll. They will only talk about integrations.
Okay. Fine. Thank you so much, Venkat.
No,
Thanks.
no issues. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So because we have only 5 minutes left, so would like to know whether we start a new topic today or we continue from tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay, is everybody
Five
okay with
minutes we
that?
cannot. 5 minutes we cannot cover the new topic now.
Yeah.
Not full topic. We just at least only can start at basic thing. Definitely not full.
Then it's
Just Venkat, then we need to know more about the job opportunity. That's a general one discussion. Whether
That we
that
can,
is
yeah,
fine.
yeah, we can discuss it on the go, no issues, or we can discuss also at the end of the training, also not a problem.
Okay.
See, job
But
opportunities definitely if you have an payroll experience and if you learn this, you have very good exposure. If you have EC also along with these two, then it's a hot cake right now in the market.
okay,
The
let me
hot
tell you
cakes are
about me. Sorry. Let me tell you
yeah,
little about me. I'm a certified of SAP HCM. Okay,
okay.
and just now that is what I'm planning to move to the SF. So how the things, because I work as a being end user into the SAP. After that, I have as a consultant only 2 years of the experience as a certified one, and now I'm
Hmm.
planning to move into the this one about the SAP payroll. So payroll, yes, since 10 plus years I'm working into the payroll only. I know all the about the payroll. So is that the things will be help me to move into again into the consulting phase of the SAP?
Yes, of course. See, when you know the payroll, SAP payroll, and
Yes.
when you also know
Yes.
about the ECP, I mean, which is point-to-point replication, as I said, that will be your hotcake in the market right now. Where if you know
Okay.
US payroll, I'm telling you, if you know the US payroll again, uh,
Okay.
that's in clouds right now. So they are struggling to find a person who knows ECP along with the US skills. So it's very, very rare skill because a lot of US consultants doesn't have very good knowledge on point-to-point replication. They know, but they don't go in depth of how more that they can do customizations or how more they can involve in they can do on the payroll side. So as I said, it's a very hot cake right now in the US market if you know payroll and also the ECP, which is a point-to-point replication.
But that is what again payroll from end user point of view I know it, not from the consulting point of view.
See as an end user, if you have 10 years of experience, then I would believe
Right.
that you already know at least or at least 60 to 70 percentage of what needs to be done if you have any issue or how to be
Right,
checking this,
absolutely. I
how
know
the
it. I know it. How
to
to
check.
counter resolve the issues. I know it. From which all the
Yeah.
info types the concern things are
Right.
getting picked. A lot of things
So,
I
so
am
it's
aware of.
just that, yeah, it's just that you need to understand the configuration point of view, which I think
Yes.
will not take a month for you to do that course. So I recommend maybe if you can do that course also, and then you proceed for applying for jobs, which will be okay.
Okay. So thanks, Venkat. My doubt is now clear. That is what I'm concerned about.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no
Yes.
issues.
So Venkat, related to these sessions, like the material or the documents or something,
Yes.
uh, how is it? Uh,
So the
I mean,
same document like PPT document will be provided to you, and you can reach out
mhm.
to Naresh, Satish, or Ashok. They will be giving
Okay,
sharing you the documents to you, and
okay,
that will have each and every step of configurations. Right now, we have not started any configuration. It's just an introduction topic, right? So there's nothing
yeah.
here in this, but from the topic 2, you will see the few configurations slowly will be starting. Each and every step, how to go, what needs to be done are there in that PPTs. So when you see
Okay.
that, you will understand, you can follow the same steps.
Yeah, and these sessions are recorded. I mean, if at all in this span of this 3 to 4 weeks, if at all I miss a session, like sir, I can have that recordings also, right?
Recordings again, I believe we need to check with, I'm afraid you need to check with Win Hon team, admin team.
Okay.
wherein
Okay.
they have, I think, some restrictions in terms of timelines. I'm not sure whether they will extend to
Yeah,
three
that's
months
fine.
or
I mean, yeah, but I'm
yeah.
just checking for like
The videos will be there.
availability of.
The videos will be there,
Yeah.
yes, but you need to check with admin team once on that. How long that they can provide the access to.
Thank you.
Any other questions, guys, before we close the call?
Nothing as of now. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Let's catch up tomorrow again, and then have a nice day.